President Donald Trump has ordered the military to prepare for action in Nigeria to tackle Islamist militant groups, accusing the government of failing to protect Christians. Trump wrote in a social media post that he had instructed the U.S. Department of War to prepare for possible action. He warned that he might send the military into Nigeria guns a-blazing unless the Nigerian government intervened, and said that all aid to what he called the now disgraced country would be cut. Trump added that if the U.S. carries out the attack, it will be fast, vicious, and sweet, just like the terrorist thugs attack the Christians. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth replied to the post by saying that the Department of War is preparing for action. He said that it is either the Nigerian government protects Christians or the U.S. military will kill the Islamic terrorists who are committing the horrible atrocities. Trump's threat has triggered alarm across Nigeria, with many on social media urging the government to step up its fight against Islamist groups to avert a situation where foreign troops are sent into the country. Trump earlier announced that he had declared Nigeria a country of particular concern because of the existential threat posed to its Christian population, with thousands killed. This is a designation used by the U.S. State Department that provides for sanctions against countries engaged in severe violations of religious freedom. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has insisted that there is religious tolerance in the country and that security challenges were affecting people across faith and regions. Tinubu said his government was committed to working with the U.S. and the international community to protect communities of all faiths. Joining us now to speak on the issue is a retired chief lecturer at the Federal Polytechnic, Afikpo, Dr. Alex Ezano. Sir, what is your reaction to this threat by President Trump? But before we get into that, good morning and welcome to news this morning. Doctor.
Signature TV, thanks a million, and good morning, Nigerian people everywhere. Thank you for being current and contemporary in your broadcasting. Actually, here in this country, we've been seeing a lot of things, been hearing a lot of things, we've been experiencing a lot of things. I think one is that what some of us have been seeing here, when you are traveling, you are afraid. But I don't think at the end of the day, the government to be sincere. They've been trying, but the trying is not good enough yet. And what actually the international community and all that, the report they have been given, we have, like in Plateau State, in Boronu, and so on and so. I remember sometime I was invited for one of the accreditation something. I was afraid to go because my life and the life of my family are very important to me. I declined, but that was actually the reason, because I didn't want to, after suffering all this while. So what Donald Trump has threatened, thank God, in a logic, he said the if, meaning he has given us some improviso, that if this is not done, this will happen. So thank God there are if. And our military, in their different strata, they have been doing, but they should do more, because many of us are afraid to move out here and there. So, and if what President Donald Trump is doing, because I can see him all over the world canvassing for peace, talking about Christianity, because that's one president of America I have discovered and witnessed, who when he's talking in protection of Christians everywhere. I can't remember Joe Biden, Barack Obama, whatever, others. But this one is always in his tongue. It's always in his heart to protect Christians and Christianity, where some of us belong. And we are proudly there, because everybody, whether you're a Muslim, you're a Christian, all of us must be protected.
But
so
Doctor,
I think,
Dr. Nemeka, do you believe that Christians in Nigeria are facing existential threats? Do you really believe that?
Yes and no. Because why I'm saying that is that more of like in Southern Kaduna, where coincidentally I have some of my people living there, including Sokoto, where I have some of my people also living there. I had been there myself. So I discovered there is that threat. I was watching what happened in Plateau State from one of the priests there. He gave a list of galaxy of names of people buried, attacked in Plateau. It's not a fake story. But the thing is that, you see, when those bandits, those wicked criminals kill, there is no photograph or identity card to show that it is of particular Muslim enclave or Christian enclave. But generally, it is more at the Christians, because it's the Christians crying loud, shouting loud. I have not seen the equivalent cry from the other side, even though they are minimally involved. That's what I can say.
All right, Dr. Nnaemeka, can we look at it from this angle? All right, do you think the Nigerian government should take advantage of this supposed interest of Donald Trump, you know, having some of the military, U.S. military men to be stationed in one or two of those strategic places in the northern areas where the banditry and the what have you dominate the most? Do you think the federal government should have a negotiation, you know, a diplomatic conversation with the U.S. to come in, even if not from the angle of religious threats?
You see, my brother, thank you so very much. You see, me, I belong to the academics, or in the academics. Hitherto, if we were having exams with students, we used to just invigilate. But when the court people and others started invading campuses, we started bringing army and the police people to help us. So why not in this case? If the military, if the army could no more cope, including Nigerian nation, why not ask somebody to come and help me? Are you getting? Because it could be anybody. All these military people who are risking their lives, fighting and protecting us and all that, they are human beings. They have their families. They have their fears. Okay? So why not? So if we invite foreign people to come and help us, it doesn't mean we're inferior. It just means they are not taking over our country. It's a way of helping to do the job, which I can see is overpowering some of them, to say the least. That's what I know about that.
All right. So how do you assess the reaction of the Nigerian government regarding this?
Yes, really, I don't blame them, because you see, we in our African parlance, you say that so every president is equal, whether it's president of America, whether it's president of Nigeria or Zimbabwe or whatever. And for a president of another country to become, we have that ego. So why should you come to help me? But then again, there is nothing wrong with that. So if we can cooperate, there is that interconnectivity and in international relations. You invite somebody, it doesn't mean you are weak. It just means, even in the Bible, something, there are times you see the Philippines, the Israelites inviting Judah. You see one part of the country in Israel helping to fight the other one. You can cooperate. You can collaborate. It happens. Are you getting me? So that the citizens will feel free and live long and enjoy themselves. And then we invite external investment from here and there, which many of us are running away from Nigeria. And some of us who are proudly Nigerian. Somebody like myself, I'm proudly a Nigerian. I don't have any regret. And I've been serving this country. But then again, there is this threat, and I'm not happy about it, because I love this country dearly. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Nnaemeka. Thank you for joining us this morning to discuss what is going on with Nigeria, of course, and Donald Trump, the President of the United States. We go straight into the news right now. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. God bless you.
All right. Bless you too. All right.
You're welcome.
Okay. A presidential candidate in the 2023 elections and former governor of Kano State, Kwakwanso, has expressed concern over recent comments by U.S. President Donald Trump about Nigeria. Kwakwanso, who took to his Facebook page on Sunday, noted that the increasing concern over the pronouncement of Nigeria by President Donald Trump He stressed that Nigeria remains a sovereign nation facing security challenges caused by outlaws, not by religion or ethnicity. Kwakwanso urged the United States to support Nigeria with modern technology to fight insecurity instead of issuing threats. He also called on the Nigerian government to engage with the U.S. diplomatically. Senator Kwakwanso appealed to the Nigerians to remain united, saying this is an important moment where we should emphasize unity, not division. The presidency has commended former Kano State Governor Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso for his patriotic stance and comments by United States President Donald Trump, who threatened possible military action in Nigeria. Presidential spokesman Bayo Nanuga, in a post on X on Sunday, described Kwankwaso's position as an act of patriotism, urging other political leaders to emulate him and rally behind the country during the ongoing diplomatic tensions. A Catholic priest, Father Angelo, has backed President Donald Trump's decision to tackle the alleged massacre of Christians in Nigeria. While some citizens are celebrating the move, others believe the security crisis in Nigeria has nothing to do with religion. However, Father Angelo, in a statement posted on his Facebook page on Sunday, stated that himself and others have been appealing to Bola Tinubu all this while to stop the killings. The Catholic priest said they have been reminding Tinubu that he has all it takes to stop insecurity and injustice in Nigeria, stressing that humans are slaughtered daily. He argued that terrorists in Nigeria are walking freely, while harmless agitators and protesters have either been killed or are in jail. Former federal lawmaker Shehu Sani has urged President Bola Tinubu to urgently address the security crisis rocking the country. Sani made the call on Sunday while reacting to the threat by United States President Donald Trump of possible military action in Nigeria over alleged Christian genocide in the country. The ex-Kaduna Central Senator said he stands opposed to any foreign military aggression against the country under any guise, disguise, or excuse, countering Trump's description of Nigeria as a disgrace. Sani declared that his country is not a disgraced country and will never be. Islamic cleric Sheikh Gumi on Sunday urged President Bola Tinubu to sever diplomatic ties with the United States following threats of military action by President Donald Trump. Gumi said Tinubu should summon the U.S. ambassador to Nigeria, retracting their threat by Trump or sever diplomatic ties with the country. Reacting, Gumi described Trump's threat as disrespect to Nigeria. Senior advocate of Nigeria, Wahab Shitu, has urged President Bola Tinubu to engage diplomatically with the United States following threats of possible military action by U.S. President Donald Trump. Speaking to journalists, Shitu advised that Nigeria must open peace talks immediately and that President Tinubu should personally lead a high-level delegation to Washington to prevent what he called an existential threat to the nation. He also appealed to Nigerians to remain united and support the government in addressing the situation. Shitu stressed that only diplomacy and national unity can avert a potential crisis in U.S.-Nigeria relations. Up ahead, federal government hands over federal roads to Abia for completion. NUJ seeks end to attacks, impunity against journalists. Details of this and more after the break.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Ahead of his formal reception into the All Progressives Congress APC later today, the governor of Bayelsa State, Doye Deri, says his decision to quit the People's Democratic Party is in the interest of the state. Governor Deri, who spoke on Sunday during the 14th Bayelsa Thanksgiving Day at the Economical Center in Igbogene, Yenugua, said he took the decision on behalf of Bayelsa State. The governor, who was speaking publicly for the first time on the issue since he left the PDP on October 15, 2025, said his decision for joining the ruling party would become clear with the passage of time. The Bayelsa State Healthman said that the current peace and security in the state and its ongoing development were reasons to be grateful to God, and urged the people to imbibe the culture of thanksgiving. The Minister of State for Petroleum, Senator Heineken Legbokberi, who said he was excited to attend the annual Thanksgiving for the first time, described it as a unifier. General Overseer of the Redeemed Evangelical Mission, Bishop Mike Okonkwo, who delivered the sermon, assured the people of the state that as long as they made God their Alpha and Omega, victory and blessings were guaranteed. The Zamfara State Chapter of the People's Democratic Party has dismissed the endorsement of President Bola Tinubu for a second term by the state's All Progressives Congress, describing it as a political comedy and a joke taken too far. In a statement by its publicity secretary, Haliru Andy, the PDP said the APC's endorsement during a stockholders meeting in Talata Mafara was a desperate attempt to revive what it called an expired product. The party accused APC leaders of being selfish and out of touch with the people suffering, blaming the Tinubu administration for worsening insecurity, hunger, and economic hardship. The PDP added that the meeting had nothing to do with public welfare, but was about protecting personal interests and political survival. It also vowed that 2027 will not be business as usual, insisting that Nigerians will reject the APC at the polls. The party urged the Zamfara residents to ignore what it called a political drama and focus on efforts to rebuild the state. With the growing dominance of the ruling party across different levels of government, Nigeria's political landscape is drawing mixed reactions. Recent waves of defections and alignments with the APC have sparked conversations about the strength of opposition parties and the future of multi-party democracy in the country. Correspondent Princess Ken Ochoma asked Nigerians their opinion on current political developments in the country.
For me, I don't know the reason why virtually everybody wants to join APC. I don't know the reason. Governors who are very comfortable in their states, they are supposed to stay wherever they are. After all, they were elected on the platform of the party. You know, they are now leaving their parties to join the ruling party. I don't know the reason. I don't know whether they're being enticed for one reason or the other. I don't know, but I think that is not good for democracy. Multipartism is one of the bedrocks of democracy. It creates choice for the electorates. So that if you don't like this party, you understand, based on their manifestos, you can check the one that has manifestos that suits you, and then you vote for their candidates. But when you have everybody joining one party, it doesn't give the electorate the choice, and it will create apathy. You understand? People become somehow lackadaisical. They are not interested anymore in joining or in even carrying out their normal duties as citizens. You understand? Some people will be disenfranchised. Some people even disenfranchise themselves because they're no more interested. So, bring everybody into one political platform. For me, I don't like it. I don't know the reason, because I know that one party can breed anarchy, it can breed fascism, it can breed dictatorship. Understand? So it can bring all manner of, bad influences or devices, or vices in politics. So when you have one party state, you have almost shut in the electorates. So they don't have any other choice apart from following whatever thing you have presented to them. So for me, it is undemocratic. It does not encourage democracy.
Well, generally, whatever policy, whatever thing, whatever step the governance wants to take, or any step they want to take in political matters, they don't look at your opinion. They don't look at you and I's opinion. It's all about their interest. But I see it that when you are trying to defect from one party to another, it's because you are not confident that you can actually stay one place and then make it. Except if your party decides to discharge you because of one misconduct or the other. Well, that one, you have that right to switch over. But you just waking up one morning and you think this is the only party I believe if I should step into, things will go well for me. Not actually for the citizens of the state. You are just going for your own interest, like you are going for your own interest. So you already feel that you are not going to progress if you should continue in that particular place. So that means you don't even have all it takes to, go for any opposition party and make it. You are just after your own interest, and you are looking for where, if you are weak, the party's power will now help you excel, help you be in the spotlight, like shield that your weakness so that people will not notice. You are trying to run under an umbrella where that your fear will be protected. That's how I see this defection of a thing. If you look at the whole system, generally, APC is topping the list. Look at PDP. How many states can we count now like that is PDP states? Apuga, how many? APC is taking the lead, because if you don't go there, if you are not in that party, 2027 is not for you. You are just out of the whole thing. So everybody's just going in there to just shield himself, at least be a little bit, like 70% confident that I'm going to win. If you go against the ruling party, you are off the hook. You are like out of it.
Lastly, from the look of things, that's where we are heading to. Because how many governors are left? Just few. And the indication is that they are planning to defect. And it will not be good for us, because this is democracy. We should allow other parties to come in place. We should give them a platform to participate. With the way APC is going, I don't think the future of Nigeria is bright. So moving to one party system.
What we have now, we are in this, will I call it what my master is doing? Let me, you understand? What they taught us then, I say follow, just be who you are. For me, that's what I say. I don't see anything going from one party to another. Why wouldn't you stand in that your party and build that your party for that thing you are going there to do? That is all I can say about it.
The federal government has officially handed over the completion of some key federal road projects in Abia State to the state government in what officials described as a new model of partnership to fast-track road infrastructure delivery under the Renewed Hope agenda. The handover, authorized by President Bola Tinubu, was announced by Minister of Works David Umahi during a grand civic reception held in honor of Governor Alex Otti at the Eyimba International Stadium, Aba. The affected roads include the Owerri-Umuahia Road, Oniogbo-Umuahia Road, Umezu Bridge, and Umuahia-Ikotekpene Road, all critical transport links within the Southeast Economic Corridor. In a statement issued on Sunday by the Director of Press and Public Relations in the Ministry of Works, Mohammed Ahmed, the minister said the gesture reflected the president's approval for Abia State to take over the reconstruction and rehabilitation of the projects. Umahi, addressing political leaders, traditional rulers, and stakeholders, commended Otti's proactive and non-partisan approach to governance, saying the move exemplified a leadership driven by people's needs rather than party lines. The minister urged the residents of Abia and the southeast to support the Tinubu administration, noting that the region had benefited from several federal projects and key appointments, including that of Chief of Air Staff. The Enugu State Police Command has arrested 5 male suspects for alleged armed robbery and related offences in separate operations across the state. Police spokesperson Daniel Ndukwe confirmed in a statement that officers recovered 2 firearms and 7 rounds of ammunition from the suspects. He said operatives of the Distress Response Squad intercepted a shuttle bus along the Enugu-Abakaliki Road on October 29, leading to the arrest of 1 suspect. Another suspect was detained a day earlier during a raid by the Anti-Cultism Tactical Squad at New Garaki, while 3 others were apprehended at a black spot on October 20 with 6 live cartridges recovered. Ndukwe added that the suspect will be charged to court after investigations. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has uncovered a secret laboratory producing Colorado, a potent synthetic cannabis strain, inside a residential building at Ajao Estate, Isolo, Lagos. NDLEA spokesperson Femi Babafemi confirmed in a statement that the lab owner, 30-year-old Stephen Imo, was arrested after months of surveillance. The agency recovered over 16 kilograms of freshly produced Colorado and large quantities of chemicals used in its manufacture. In a related operation, 28-year-old Afi Salisu, also known as Malu, was arrested in Moshin with 16 blocks of Ghana Loud and several bottles of Colorado. Similarly, music artist Steady Boy was apprehended while attempting to take delivery of 77 kilograms of loud cannabis smuggled from the United States. Across other states, NDLEA seized thousands of tramadol capsules, bottles of Akuscora, and over 7,000 kilograms of skunk in Kaduna, Ogun, Bauchi, Kwara, Edo, and Ondo. Several suspects were also arrested in connection with the seizures. NDLEA says the operations are part of ongoing efforts to curb local drug production and trafficking networks nationwide. Some federal civil servants in Osun State have expressed frustration over the delay in completing the federal secretariat in Osogbo 14 years after the project was awarded. The workers told reporters that the project, awarded in 2011 and expected to be completed by 2014, remains unfinished. They appealed to the federal government to investigate the prolonged delay and ensure that secretariat completion. One of the workers, Simeon Ola, said it was unacceptable that a project of such importance could drag on for over a decade, while Mary Richards lamented that many federal offices were forced to operate from unsuitable rented spaces. Another civil servant, Mayowa Olabisi, wondered why the state government has a functioning secretariat while the federal one remains abandoned. As Lagos continues to experience rapid urbanization, residents across the state are raising concerns over worsening air quality caused by waste burning, vehicle emissions, and poor sanitation. In separate interviews, residents from Ikorodu to Oshodi and Alagbado lamented the choking fumes from refuse fires and exhaust pipes, warning of the health risks. A civil servant in Ikorodu, Itonu Dada, blamed indiscriminate waste burning and urged the state government to enforce sanitation laws and improve waste collection. In Shasha, Stella Lawrence, a teacher, said air pollution has become a daily challenge, while Choma Ndukwe from Okota described the situation as severe in crowded areas like Oshodi. In Lekki, businesswoman Bruno Ajede noted that though the area is cleaner, pollution remains high around markets and Ajah. Residents are calling on the Lagos state government to act swiftly to improve air quality and safeguard public health. A training workshop in Adamawa State has dissected the limited exposure that women get in the media in Nigeria and made a case for improvement. Facilitators and participants at the 4-day event with the theme Strengthening the Capacity of Media Personnel for Positive Response to Support Gender Responsiveness and Inclusive Governance in Adamawa State noted that women are significantly underrepresented as sources in Nigeria media. The group identified persistent gender imbalance in the sources used in Nigerian journalism as contributing to marginalization of women's voices and, by extension, poor representation in governance. Multiple sources indicate that highly limited number of women make it to the Nigerian media as sources, accounting consistently for between 14% to 20%, while men take the share of about 80% and 86%. The facilitators urged journalists to consciously seek to give women a voice by seeking them out for news interviews and projecting them in their reports. As the world marks 2025 International Day to End Impunity for Crimes Against Journalists, the Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, Federal Capital Territory, FCT Council, has called on government authorities, law enforcement agencies, and other stakeholders to ensure the safety, protection, and dignity of media practitioners in Nigeria. In a statement issued in Abuja on Sunday, the Secretary of the Council, Comrade Jide Oyekunle, condemned all forms of violence and intimidation targeted at journalists, describing them as an assault on democracy and freedom of expression. According to the Council, this year's observance of the day is a solemn reminder of the continuing threats, harassment, and violence faced by journalists in the line of duty, and the alarming lack of accountability for those responsible for such crimes. The Council urged the federal government and security agencies to demonstrate genuine commitment to ending impunity by thorough investigating all past and recent cases of attacks on journalists and prosecuting perpetrators, irrespective of their social or political standing. It also called on state and non-state actors to respect the constitutional role of journalists, guaranteeing them the freedom of report, to report whether without fear or interference, adding that the culture of impunity not only endangers journalists, but also undermines the citizens' right to know. The former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, was among prominent personalities that witnessed the final funeral ceremonies of the music legend Mike Ejeagha. Correspondent Chinemerem Ikebunam was at the late musician's country home and now reports.
The final funeral rites of gentleman Mike Ejeagha drew family, friends, and admirers to Umuagba village, Imeziowa, as they gathered to celebrate a man whose life and music were steeped in wisdom and cultural pride. Born on April 4th, 1930, the renowned folklorist, songwriter, and guitarist carved a niche for himself as one of Nigeria's most respected musical storytellers. His works, rich in Igbo proverbs and moral lessons, shaped generations and preserved Igbo identity through melody and narrative. The Catholic Bishop of Enugu Diocese, Most Reverend Callistus Onaga, who officiated at the funeral service, called on family members of the late legendary folklorist and all who gathered for the funeral to uphold the virtues of humility, selflessness, and mortal respect that defined the life of the departed music icon. Onaga noted that true greatness lies in living for others, a life Ejeagha embodied through his songs of patience, love, and kindness.
This is a man who really used music to convert people. In our own evangelization standard, it's a very wonderful homilist because he spoke to the hearts of people. It's not like the modern things we have now. I'm not saying you are not playing good music now, but like even the preacher pointed out, his lyrics carry a lot of life philosophy.
Spiritual director to the late folklorist, Reverend Father Benjamin Achi, pledged to help sustain Ejeagha's moral artistic legacy, describing him as a man who preached virtue through melody.
And I'm so happy. I feel fulfilled that I kept it to the end. The day he was laid to rest, I was told, I gave him the last sacrament a night before anyway. So eventually when he passed on, I had also that great privilege of laying him to rest, celebrating the mass that laid him to rest. And today we are here again for his funeral. So far, I have a record of some of his songs. A good number of his songs are in most of the streaming platforms, get them in Audio Mark, and well, a good number of them. Yes, so I have a lot of them in MP3 already. But there are, I'll still go in search of more. I have especially the award-winning songs, the most popular ones, the iconic ones, the award-winning ones. I have those, but I'll still go in search of more.
Members of Ejeagha's family described their father as a humble and disciplined man whose humor, faith, and wisdom guided not just their home, but the entire community.
Since we buried him, it has not been easy to plan for this particular event that is happening today. because he's a man that endeared himself to the world, and the world over equally loved him. So we did everything possible to see what we can do to satisfy or to carry everybody along. People in different walks of life, and today it is happening. Even the Bishop of Catholic Diocese Enugu, the former governor of Anambra State, the name of His Excellency Chief Peter B, he visited my father. He came here in the morning. He was here around 8:30.
We give God all the glory for all He has done for us. So our daddy was a great man, an amazing one at that. He was a kind, loving, and gentle man.
Dignitaries in attendance, including the former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, and Chima Obieze of the Enugu State House of Assembly, noted that Ejaha's life transcended fame and said his life was that of purpose, peace, and impact.
I am here today because it is the personality of Mike Ejaha. If not, I lost my aunt, and my dad's immediate younger sister is being buried today, right now, in Akamui. But I have to leave that burial to be here because we're not talking about any other person than gentleman Mike Ejaha, who is not only a representative, a voice for the Ezago people. He is a voice for Enugu State, a voice for the Igbo race.
Indeed, an old cameraman at 73. So I've been working with Mike Ejaha for too long a time. And the man, Mike Ejaha, is a bosom friend, and he liked me so much. When I was growing up as a cameraman, I've been covering his activities. Everybody knows that the man is, in fact, is most humane human being I've ever seen.
He has paid his own dues, and he lived a life worthy of emulation. So people should emulate him. That's why he lasted for so long. That's why he lived up to 95 years before he died, because he lived a good life. So I urge every politician or any musician to live the way the Mike Ejaha lived.
For over 6 decades, gentleman Mike Ejaha entertained, educated, and inspired audience with timeless hits like Omekago, Kesi Leonyisi Oche, Owambwede Kamma, and Jam Nando. With over 300 record works, his influence on Igbo high life and storytelling remains unmatched. Gentleman Mike Ejaha lived what he sang, a life guided by wisdom, humility, and peace. His melody may have ended, but his message will echo through generations, reminding all indeed, Owambwede Kamma, life when lived well shines brightest at twilight. From Imeziowe Ziago local government area, Chinemere Mikibuna, Signature TV News.
Still to come, convoy carrying bodies of deceased hostages arrives in Tel Aviv. Urban search and rescue specialists assist in Jamaica's hurricane aftermath. Details in a moment.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Pope Leo on Sunday visited Rome's largest cemetery, the Verano, to celebrate a mass in honor of the Feast of All Souls, holding a banquet of white roses upon arrival. He placed it on a grave at the entrance of the cemetery before proceeding to the altar to lead the ceremony. In his homily, the pontiff spoke of hope for the future and the promise of life beyond death, a reality, he said, already been experienced by the departed.
We have gathered in this place to celebrate the commemoration of all the faithful departed, especially of those buried here, and with particular affection for our own loved ones. On the day when they died, They left us, but we continue to carry them in the memory of the heart. And every day, in everything we live, this memory is alive.
All Souls Day is a Catholic celebration dedicated to remembering the dead. It is traditional for families to visit graves of loved ones, offering flowers and prayers. India successfully launched its heaviest communication satellite, CMS-03, into orbit on Sunday from the country's Sriharikota spaceport in the Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO, India's national space agency. The mission marked the 5th operational flight of the LVM-3, ISRO's heavy lift launcher.
M5 launch vehicle has successfully injected the CMS-03 communication satellite in the required orbit. The satellite weighing 4,410 kg is precisely injected within the specification of the orbit. The CMS-03 is the heaviest satellite launched by the LVM-3 to the GTO orbit so far.
Satellite is designed to provide communications coverage across India and adjacent ocean regions, according to an ISRO statement. Tensions ran high outside Serbia's parliament in Belgrade on Sunday as hundreds of protesters came to support Dijana Hacker, a mother whose child died in last year's railway station roof collapse in Novi Sad. Hacker started a hunger strike outside the Belgrade Parliament building on Sunday, demanding justice for her son and 15 other people killed in the incident. Demonstrators who blamed the government for the collapse, citing corruption and nepotism as the cause of the shoddy construction of the station roof, shouted Hacker's name Dijana at supporters of Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić, standing behind a row of riot police. Months of protests across Serbia, stoked by anger over the failure so far to prosecute those responsible for the roof collapse, have rattled President Alexander long grip on power and raised calls for early elections.
Well, definitely, as things stand, the authorities want to divide the nation. Two Serbias will be created, one on one side and one on the other. I just hope there won't be any bloodshed.
I think this is absolutely scandalous. The behavior of the authorities is scandalous. The behavior of the police on whose orders they react is scandalous. The behavior of the members of the SNS party members, ruling party, and the people in Kachiland, tent settlement in front of the presidency of Serbia accommodating supporters of the Serbian president, is scandalous. People here are gathering to support a woman who is fighting for justice, who lost her son, who is on a hunger strike, which is the most radical measure, and the police are currently letting SNS supporters throw pyrotechnics at people and not reacting to it.
Emotions are mixed. I've seen a lot of my acquaintances and that invokes nice, friendly emotions, and on the other hand, there are bad emotions, emotions of anger when we see that crime is being promoted in this country under the protection of the regime, and that peaceful protesters are being...
Officials have denied such accusations. Recently, Vučić and Parliament Speaker Ana Brnabić said the roof collapse could have been an act of terrorism. Prosecutors have indicted several senior official staffs on charges of endangering public safety, but a court has yet to confirm the indictment, preventing a trial from going ahead. A convoy carrying the bodies of Israeli hostages arrived at the National Forensic Institute in Tel Aviv on Sunday. Hamas handed over the bodies, even as the Palestinian militant group traded blame with Israel for violations of the tenuous truce that has mostly halted 2 years of war. The bodies are expected to be those of 3 of the 11 hostages whose remain Israel is seeking from Gaza under the terms of the ceasefire. Israel has said Hamas has been too slow in delivering them. Hamas says it is working as quickly as possible under difficult conditions. Smoke was seen rising over various parts of the southern Lebanon, filmed from northern Israel on Sunday, as Israel warned it would act as necessary if Lebanon did not stop Hezbollah from rearming itself. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told a cabinet meeting on Sunday that Hezbollah was seeking to rearm and that Israel would exercise its rights to self-defense under last year's ceasefire accord if Lebanon failed to stop it. The Israeli military said in a statement on Sunday that it had killed 4 Hezbollah members and funerals were held in one of the states, for 5 men killed in Israeli strikes over 2 years. However, it insists that disarmament, as mentioned in the text, only applies to the south of Lebanon and has hinted conflict is possible if the state moves against the group. Despite the accord, Israeli strikes across the border have continued sporadically. Mexicans welcomed back the spirits of their family members and their loved ones in cemeteries adorned with marigold and lit up by candles at the start of the Day of the Dead celebrations. Yadiri Ortiz explained the tradition that also involves placing food on altars over the graves to guide the departed through the portal.
What this commemoration means to most to us is feeling in dedicating a night of reflection to those who have gone before us. For me, it's my mother and father. It's a moment to realize that when we are no longer in this world, we hope someone will remember us on a night like this.
This is a tradition passed down by our parents. We believe that on the 1st and 2nd of November, our loved ones who have passed away come to visit us. That's why we build altars. They are a bridge between the living and the dead. The flowers, marigolds, and candles light their way, guiding them through the portal.
The tradition, deeply rooted in Mexican culture, blends pre-Columbian beliefs with the Catholic All Saints and All Souls Day. The origins go back to the time of the Aztecs, who ritually honored the queen of the underworld, believed to watch over the dead, historians say. Urban search and rescue teams from Virginia and California joined recovery efforts in Jamaica recently after Category 5 Hurricane Melissa devastated parts of the island. The U.S. State Department sent 34 people and 4 dog teams to Jamaica, according to VATFI officials. Teams spread out throughout parts of Jamaica, assessing damage, delivering supplies, and speaking to community residents. Abia State government-sponsored football clubs Eyimba Football Club of Aba and Abia Warriors FC on Sunday recorded victories in the Nigerian Premier League Match Day 11 fixture. Eyimba FC, who were on a 3-game winless run, hosted Kano Pillars Football Club of Kano State in Aba. Eyimba scored their first goal in the 29th minute through John Bassi, while Idediong Ezekiel scored the second goal in the 39th minute as they held on to secure their win. Abia Warriors Football Club of Umuahia, on their part, recorded a 2-1 win away from home against Niger Tornadoes Football Club of Mina, Niger State. The win by Abia Warriors FC has made them go top of the Nigerian Premier Football League, while Eyimba FC of Aba have climbed to the 6th position on the table. In a post-match interview, Eyimba FC coach Stanley Eguma, excited with the victory, commended his players for a job well done.
First half, we were looking for goals, and the players were more determined in moving forward to get goals. Second half, the Vanu players, we expected the fight, they came back because we knew that we were going to fight in the second half, and then we tried as much as possible to see how we could dispossess them, but they continued keeping possession. We made sure that the possession ended in their half, but they did not carry it to our own area, our own half. Because if you are 2-0 up and opponent is giving possession, as long as they are not, is not hurting you in your defense. Well, I think they will allow them to play, and then we now waited for a counter. You know, we waited for them on the break.
Meanwhile, Kano Pillars coach Baba Ganaru attributed the loss to the fatigue of his players after traveling long distance on the road from Kano to Aba, promising to improve on the results.
It actually happens in every game. Like in a striker, there's a time that it's difficult to score, to convert chances, but definitely we believe that it's going to come one day, and it's going to come, and it's going to come very, very soon.
Thank you. We see Abia Warriors FC host their neighbors Eyimba FC in the Abia Derby fixture that will be played at the Umuahia Township Stadium. That's the news this hour. I am Christopher Lele. Thanks for watching.